This is Jim from Lenny. I just want to say, keep a cool head, take a step back, and always be positive.
Hey, gang, this is Lenny from Lenne. From madness to creation, take care of yourself and don't be afraid to ask for help. It's okay. Take care.
Oh, look at that. It lets you know. I like
it. Yep. Welcome to the Madness to Creation podcast for self-care and music merge. This is Maddie. How are you? Hopefully you guys are having an amazing, awesome day. And here I have with me Jim Taylor of Lenny. Jim, how are you?
Doing wonderful, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's just balmy. It's about 900 degrees outside. How is the weather out there for you?
It was a little rainy, and the humidity it's waned a little bit, but it was a little balmy as well. So, but all in all, very good.
Yeah, and kind of one of the things I kind of just start off the podcast with is I end up talking about people's background and all that stuff, and just tell me about the picture behind you. I like that piece of art. It looks like it looks like something to do with fishing or something like that.
It is. I'm actually not 1,000% sure where that one came from. My wife has painted a few of these, but this one, I want to say we picked it up somewhere. But yeah, it's very pastoral. And plus, I have these cool, these candles I have here. I was trying to light them a second ago. I was like, you know what? I'm going to avoid a flame out here in my kitchen. So what am I going to
do? Definitely. So you guys recently released a single that I really like. I was actually jamming. Yeah, absolutely. I was jamming it this morning called Letting You Down. Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, I had to look it up real quick because I'm one of those I'm notoriously bad when it comes to remembering song titles. I can remember bands all day and stuff. And
it's all right.
And we have oh my gosh, how do I say his last name? Leonard
Cerzosie.
Cerzosie. Okay, I looked at that name. I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh, it's okay. When we named, so we had help from our friends at Imagen Records. We really hit. There he is. He can tell you himself here in a second. But it was one of those things like we have a couple projects that we've had over the last couple of years, and we were like, well, what about going by these? And they're like, no, this is new. We want something. Like, okay, well, we don't care what we call it. And it was funny. I said, well, how about the Lenny Cerzosie band? He was like, bro, people are going to butcher my name. They're not going to want to say that.
Just like I would.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. So, but Lenny, when we named it, Morgan was like, just Lenny. I was like, oh, like Cher or Eliza. And I was like, except we're a hard rock band. It's a little different.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. And just kind of, it seems like you guys are kind of taking the ways of Madonna and Cher and all that stuff. Do you think other bands will trend to where we're just going to be called by our first name and everything like that?
Well, and it's not and it's nothing new because you had Bonham.
Oh, true.
Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And you there's plenty of others. I don't know if you remember a band called Thornley. They were a Canadian band.
They had a couple of songs in the 2000s.
They were called Big Wreck.
Yes.
And they split and became Thornley. So yeah, I that'd be cool. It's there he is. He's getting his his thing. See, I don't wear my cool hat. See, he does the thing with the, I usually wear aviators as well, but he does that. I have my arch, and he looks infinitely cooler than.
Well, you both look infinitely cooler than me. So.
Oh no, thank you, sir. You too, sir. There he is.
Sorry for being late.
No,
Lenny, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Maddie. How are you?
Doing great. We just did a little introduction. We're just talking about the Letting You Down single, and I just what I really enjoy about the single more than anything is, like towards. First of all, I'm not a musician, so if I describe the part wrong, please forgive me. It's like the bridge of the song where it has like the piano intertwining with the guitars and stuff like that. That's my favorite part of the song. What is your favorite part of the song that kind of just gives you the goosebumps, so to speak, or gives you goosebumps?
Leonard?
I love his piano intro.
Oh,
That's my favorite part. The way it starts, it's like a horror movie is about to begin.
Right.
In my opinion, that's my favorite part of the song. But I appreciate you calling that part out, because that was one of the last parts we really played around with and developed.
That's correct.
The very last stage of the recording. We played around with that section. And so, yeah, that means a lot when you get to point that out. And, you don't need to be a musician to appreciate music.
Oh, definitely. I'm just one of those, like, where, like, people say, oh, that's the interlude of the song. And I'm like, so I have to go to, like, Webster Dictionary and look up what an interlude is.
Hell, I don't even know what
interlude is.
Oh, don't lie. Jim knows everything. Jim's very, he knows a lot of it, but I'm definitely not a term guy either. Like, I have to look stuff up. Like, I'll Google stuff all the time on the side and pretend I knew what you were talking about.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those where if I learn a new vocabulary word, I try to use it in my daily conversations. You guys do that too, to try to make yourself sound intelligent?
Well, no. You look up, so you try to learn something new every day. So
I guess I try not to sound stupid. That
is
try.
When in doubt, just tend to look pensive and just go.
Well, that's the good thing about having a beard. Having a beard, you can always look like you're contemplating.
Correct. Like, yes. Yeah.
Well, it's like the new Thinking Man statue, the one that kind of goes like this. I think the 21st century version would just have this big old beard and stuff.
Correct.
And all that. So
I like it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Leonard, just kind of a question. First of all, do I call you Leonard or Lenny?
Anything you want, man.
Okay. I will call you Leonard then. And sometimes I'll switch up to Lenny. So.
You're the first, actually. Usually it's Lenny. That's Leonard. Usually it's Morgan that calls him that. So
but there's a difference. When Morgan says he's Leonard, like that's
or Leonard.
Or Leonard.
Yeah.
But actually, every so often someone does say Leonard, which is definitely not like the pronunciation, but it doesn't bother me.
We missed the boat on the band name, bro.
Leonard. Great. Let's start over.
And back. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, so no, it's all good. So speaking of Morgan Rose and stuff like that, how did you guys come together with him? And I was gonna say, how'd you guys come together with him? And was it from the 2009 tour, like when the Infinite Staircase was performing and stuff? And is the Infinite Staircase still a band? I know it's kind of a ridiculous question, but
it's yes to all that, actually.
Yeah.
We did technically meet Morgan on that tour with the Infinite Staircase, which I started with my brother, and it's still alive and well. And Jim recently joined us. But we actually didn't hang out with him on the tour so much because it was a crazy schedule. And, it was like sometimes you only saw guys while you're in and out with gear and stuff. It was one of those, so it was the very last day of the tour. It was like, we're going to hang out one day. Then a very close person to me passed away around in 2010. And I was writing music, and he happened to be in the New Jersey area. And my brother contacted him and was like, hey, I see you doing sessions. My brother could use some studio time with you, and set that up. And that's how we started. So that was an EP called No Amends. Back in about 2010, we started that. Since then, we remained friends. And then over the years, unfortunately, my mom got sick and passed away. And that's when he started inviting me and my dad out to his house in Atlanta. And, we got real close over the years. He's a real emotional guy, too. People don't picture Morgan Rose of Sevendust, the monster drummer, which he is. But he's a real emotional, awesome friend. He's a real dude. He just happens to be an amazing drummer and songwriter. So that's, And this just developed. Like after my mom passed away, we were doing these sessions. And one day he really was just like, let's make this a thing now. Since we're doing these songs, they're coming out really cool. We Jimmy and Corey, Lowery, we were doing these things in Atlanta. And then we moved to Moline with Jose, and then we got Fluff involved from LA. I mean, it's been a crazy process, man, like crazy process, how this song developed. And the final product, though, we're very happy with. We feel like it does express what we were trying to express, just the raw emotion of what we were going through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you think more bands and artists are going to write more raw emotion songs, since there is this push now to end the stigma of mental health, and especially when we've we're coming out of this crazy pandemic that basically shut everything down.
Oh yeah, Jimmy and I were talking earlier about this exact thing, because I liked and followed your page and looked into something. I'm like, oh, this could get intense, because when you bring up mental health, it touches home with us in a lot of different ways. And I don't mean that as a joke. I mean that literally. I do think it's touching people, and like you said, when you're locked down and one of the few things you have to escape is your music. Yeah, it's really good. I think it's healthy for people to have something really, emotional to listen to get those things out that you need to, instead of holding it inside and harboring it and stuff like that, or turning to other things, and if you're going to turn to something, music's the healthiest way to turn to, when you're having some emotional stuff. Right, Jimmy, you and I were just talking about that.
Yeah, for sure. And it's a release. There's certain things like, I think kids that, I work in technology when, not only what I do musically and all that, but seeing texting and all that. And, and it's like, put the damn thing down for a little bit. And there's, there's such a thing as digital dementia. And for him and I, it's and I get everything in moderation. So if you go playing Call of Duty for an hour, okay, cool, that's fine. But at the same time, put it down, and pick up an instrument, and literally focus your, what's going on here. It's like, well, what does a panic attack sound like on a guitar? And,
I've never heard that before. That's a good, interesting. Wow.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Wow.
So I've, for on a personal level, for me, Lenny and I hope I'm not embarrassing. There's been been nights where
it's fine. I'm used to
it. There's been like 2 a.m. where you just look. All I need to do is just talk some things out, and then this and it's like, okay, you good? Yeah, I'm good. Okay,
we both do. It's actually
jam for a little bit, and then
it's kind of crazy. Every so often, he and I both know, like, if we get a random phone call, it's like, you okay?
Yeah.
No.
I just need a minute.
What's wrong? I don't know. I just need a minute. Just talk to me for a minute, please.
Hold on,
and then you start apologizing, and you're like, I'm sorry. And then it's like, no, it's all good.
Right.
I'll be calling you soon.
Right. And then so he's I'm 3 hours south of him. So what you're looking at in the background there, that's our dungeon. So that's our apartment. So you see the infinite staircase. We'll talk about that more in a minute. But like you see it's soundproof. We got our guitars there. So when the mood hits, like Maddie, you need to. Pardon my ignorance. Where are you located?
I'm located in Iowa.
Oh, okay, all right, fair enough.
Yeah,
I was going to say if you make it.
We're in Iowa every so often.
Yeah,
sometimes we stay at a casino right over the Mississippi, the bridge from.
In Dubuque.
No, it's near when we stay. It's near Moline. It's like 20 minutes away.
It's like 3 hours south of Chicago.
Correct.
Something like that.
Davenport.
But Davenport sounds more familiar, but
that sounds more familiar.
But anyway, Iowa is a place
right.
we do go to every so often. Actually, when we're recording with Jose over
with
in
Jose.
Moline.
He's in Geneseo.
And he's in all sorts of projects.
Oh man,
is a great.
He's amazing.
Jose from 3 Years Hollow, right?
Yeah.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Dude,
he's a sweetheart guy,
man. He's amazing to work with, and we thank God for him, and we do our thing. But if you come out to New York, I'm saying, come to the dungeon. We a couple things we do. We enjoy either bad movies or Avengers. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm not in this particular order, but we enjoy movies and shows, and then pick up an instrument and record with it. And that's how we roll. It's like, well, let me, that guitar back there, that's my ovation. So
that's
pick that thing up, and we
actually throw guitars back and forth like they're socks. I mean, seriously, you're like, yeah, I'm taking this. Yeah, all right. I forgot I even had that one. Go for it.
So this is our video gaming. Like I say that as a joke, but not really. So we'll hole up down there, and our good friend Bob Pantella, who is drummer for the Atomic Bitchwax and
what a great name.
He's one of our great friends.
Thank you. By the way, they're amazing.
That's what I hear. I need to look into them.
Dude, we can hook you up, man.
Especially live.
We got you.
I mean, their record's great and everything, but their live show is just three
even
dudes
better,
making the most insane noise at an insane pace. It was really cool dudes.
It's like if a psychedelic band met Motorhead.
Yeah, I'm sold. I'm sold right there.
Yep.
That's all you had to say.
But we're real good friends with Bob Pantella, and we have a lot of recordings on the side with him too. We work constantly when we can. With the pandemic, everything got real weird real quick. This whole project got pushed back an entire year and a half almost.
Oh, okay. So you guys didn't record parts during the pandemic or anything like that?
Oh no, we did.
We did. That's when we did record.
We waited. We had to wait a little bit. Like we waited, and everybody got tested and stuff. Like we were being responsible. It wasn't like we were like, oh, after this, we didn't know what was going on. So I got sick early March and thought, well, I must have it. But I had we were recording and playing real hard January, February, and it just caught up to me, and I got but then I got over and I got tested and all that kind of stuff. So we did travel a couple of times and did more recordings in Moline.
Yep.
And like it wasn't leaving the New York area, it was way more relaxed as far as the masks and all that kind of stuff went. Not saying I'm not giving an opinion, I'm just saying it was way different.
Right.
Out there, actually Iowa, when we were there, was way like relaxed. When we went into one of the casinos, just to stay there, we were they were like, just be responsible. That's all. They weren't like following you and running around chasing you and stuff like the other casino that was yelling at you every time you took a sip of your drink.
Well, I had and nothing bad, and I'm not angry, but it was like, I'll demonstrate it. So I was here, and I'd go here, and like, sir, I'm like, what? Can I take a sip? My God. It was okay. I understood. So I went out in the parking lot. Worked out great.
As opposed on the other side of the Mississippi, the casino we stayed at was the opposite. There was a line to get in.
Yeah.
Your temperature. You had to fill out a survey. It was a whole and we expected it though. And
we didn't care. Whatever.
It's like, all right, whatever. We're used to going through the TSA, so whatever,
Oh, for sure. You get accustomed to it after a while.
Yeah. We look sketchy anyway, so they tend
to, When we travel, we assume that we're going to be questioned for something, But hey, talking about all this too, for a short while, I was sitting in for a guitar teacher locally that taught young adults with autism guitar.
Oh, awesome. Good for you.
Yeah, for sure.
It was an amazing experience for me. And I could really see some of the students were able to focus in such a different way once they started playing the guitar a little bit. You see something changing up there. So it is an amazing thing to think of how music can affect people mentally, all across the grid of when we're talking about mental health. And I have a lot of friends that I talk to that we talk about this exact thing privately, about what different things. It's hard to talk to people about sometimes. So when you have somebody you hold on to them and you trust them, that's something really difficult for most people to talk about, is how you're feeling upstairs,
Oh, definitely. And kind of on my perspective, I'm the type of person, when I go shopping or whatever, the cashier will just give me their life story. Like one time somebody told me that they were going through divorce and everything like that. And I was just listening and all that stuff. And I help them and all that stuff. And I was going to say, I also teach special needs kids for a living. That's my actual day job. And
good for you.
And there's nothing like working with special education students. And and students with autism and stuff like that. So do you guys see yourself like on the sides when you were helping with kids with autism? Do you see yourself like working in music therapy or anything like that?
I'd be honored to do it. Like Lenny said, he's already been there. For me, because it's a different level of, again, it's an outlet, and it's also it's such a letting an empty canvas be painted.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we were talking about same thing mentally. It's like, hey, let me just let loose and do it. Absolutely, I absolutely would be honored for that. And
I could see Jim doing something like that, because you used to teach fencing, didn't you? Like in college.
Correct. Yeah.
So he has a teaching. That's a crazy bit of information about him.
And wood. No,
he was a professional fencer. Crazy. I mean, that's
you're a professional fencer.
No, well, not professional, but
well, you taught it in college.
I did.
That's professional. That's better than anybody else I know.
Excellent. Not to toot my own horn. I was fortunate enough to I fenced in the Junior Olympic qualifiers.
Wow.
So I was decimated. No, but
really? Hey,
but I would like to have a bout with Dickinson.
Oh, that would be
dude,
oh my God.
He'd kill me. But
I would die happy if I ever saw you fencing with Bruce Dickinson. I'd be able to die amazing. Happy. I mean, that'd just be like, I'd be like, just put me away now, because nothing's gonna be better than that ever. You know. But yeah, he's got a little bit of background that I felt, honestly, as cool as it was for me personally, I felt I was not like proficient enough. Like I didn't know. I just did my best, but I felt like, well, I don't know enough. You know, about the situation. I don't want to insult
I feel the same way, dude.
So I just felt very like unprepared, almost like I need to know more about handling this, even though I do have a history of friends with family members with different levels of autism, and there are lots of different, levels.
Oh, absolutely.
So yeah, it was, and some of these young adults that I got to work with were actually lovely to work with, because they were just sincere and happy to hear the music, and when I was able to show them things and they were catching on, it was just like a joy that's nice to see and nice to be around,
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where, to me, like in my field and in Leonard's field, there is few things greater in life than working with somebody with autism or somebody with special needs. It's almost like they're just pure about how they feel and about what they appreciate and stuff like that. And I feel like sometimes us as humans, we kind of lose that,
Yes.
Well, it's easy. I guess that's an easy thing for us to, to get, as years go on and as you go through life and experience things, maybe get a little jaded, or what have you.
Yeah, and I think 2020 has us all like, I know we're in 2021, but like from the pandemic, stuff like that, we all are jaded. We all have learned something. We all reflected. What is the biggest thing that you guys have learned about yourself from the pandemic? Like when you've had those moments of reflection?
Slow your brain down. It was one of those things like you just really had to take a step back sometimes and be like, okay, wait a minute, and I really not a midlife crisis thing. So I'll be 40 in August, and it's one of those things like I wanted to take a step back and be like, I don't feel that. Not that 40's old, but like
no, I'm sorry.
He just turned 41. That's why
he's saying that. Hey, that's private information, you son of a...
All right.
But it just ruined my illusion. I was trying to be Loki.
Right? But to embarrass him and I real quick, we don't feel that. Right. This is something like and again, big shout out to Morgan, to Steve Nathan, to our friends at Imagen Records and everything. This is something that normally when you were signed, or however you talk about it, it was usually something you were 19 years old and your life was on tour. and doing this. This is something we're doing. And my father said it. He was like, you know, you guys usually this is something 20-year-olds do. Yeah, you know, not in a bad way, but it was, you know, it was just, you know. But I was like, for us, playing is life. And it's one of those things, like, you know, there's going to be people that we can't without people supporting and listening to us like you, and, you know, we would not exist. And at the same time, there's people that don't like it. We still love you. You know, we'll still get a beer and have tacos, you know, like, well, what did
it does bother me when people give a thumbs down to a video where I'm like, why did you take the time
crushing, out? Maddie.
Why did you take the time out?
Well, what did you like? I'm sorry. You know,
but you know, I mean, before this project, though, I mean, we both have a long history, you know, and a long career with music in different ways. And I mean, I've been able to do like some pretty crazy things over the years. So to me, this is kind of like the culmination of all the craziness over the years. I mean, I was kind of crazy in my 20s and 30s and 40s.
And now,
I'm just saying it. You know, it is a state of mind. It's, you know, exactly. It is just a number. And we do live in a year 2021 where who knows, you know, what
for sure
what we're going to discover and what kind of cures and stuff we could come up with and all that. But yeah, I mean, it's a wild ride, and I love these kind of conversations. I love being able to talk about this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, this is
for sure
awesome for us. You know, I look forward. But I
appreciate that.
I
was like, I did look into that. I tried to do my research, and I followed your page and everything.
Well, thank you.
I was like, Jimmy, did you see what the topic is? And he's like, no, what?
I was like, what?
Mental health, man. I was like, this is gonna
Oh,
be
good. You got the two craziest guys out
I'm
here.
Like, this is gonna be intense because you got the two right guys to talk about mental health.
Exactly.
Or the two wrong guys. It depends on
two wrong. Yeah.
Well, I don't think there's any such thing as two right guys or two wrong guys talking about
Absolutely.
it. In fact, I don't think from a men's mental health perspective, I don't think it's talked about nearly enough because we're taught to hold in our emotions, suck it up, buttercup, and stuff like that, you know.
Right.
And,
oh yeah, sure. Oh no, you're right. You're right. Oh.
You know,
well, I don't know how it is by you guys, but in New York right now, when you go to a doctor or something, it's protocol. They ask you a whole mental health like questionnaire while you're there. Oh, wow. And I recently had like an intense moment. I went in for a regular type of thing with my doctor, and the nurse is asking me all these questions about, you know, do you experience this on a level of 1 to 10, 1 meaning very little, 10 meaning all the time. And then I'm answering 10, 10, 10, and I'm like, whoa. And then I'm getting upset, you know? So it's one of those things that when you start, and because it's hard, like I said, it's hard for a lot of people, but I think especially men to actually say, hey, I need some help. You know, that's really difficult for most people to say in general, but I think you're right. A lot of men do have that stigma asking for help. You know?
And though we're not doctors, but in our own way, you know, we look, you know, Lenny, the way he writes lyrically as well as Morgan, if that, you know, kind of strikes a chord, no pun intended, with someone.
I was going to say it.
Yeah. If that strikes a chord with someone, that's awesome for us.
Absolutely.
And we maintain. So when you contact the band on Facebook, you're talking to us. And so if it's like, yo, whatever, you know, this particular song hit me right in the feels. What were you talking? Oh, you know, it's one of those things. We'll dive right in.
I've gotten so many awesome messages. I love being able to connect with people. I love when someone says something about this song. One, it tells us you actually listened to it. That's cool. You enjoyed it to a degree and it touched you. So now we have a connection forever, basically. You know, so it's a pretty cool thing. And I have made countless friends over the years strictly through music. And like Jimmy was just saying, being able to use social media to connect with people directly. I talk to as many people as I can regularly. I'm just not the best at getting back to people right away, but I get back to you eventually. You know?
Absolutely.
Especially when you get overwhelmed. You know, sometimes I shut it off because I get a little overwhelmed. So I'm like, okay, I'll let me get back to this later
on.
Take
a step back.
I'm going to watch the Avengers.
Yeah.
And, have an IPA, and we'll get back to you later.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. And that's the beautiful thing about music is that at the end of the day, it all connects us. And it's kind of one of those things where music can be a therapy. Like there are bands that I go to when I'm feeling down, like Killswitch Engage is one of them. And I could go on about Killswitch Engage. In fact, on my website, I wrote top 99 favorite Killswitch Engage songs. I went in depth and stuff like that. And the band absolutely loved the post. And
that's cool, man.
And
but that felt good. I bet to have the band be like cool.
Yes,
man. Awesome.
we hit.
Yeah, they're probably the one band. Like if they were ever on the podcast, I don't know if I'd be able to talk to them. I might have to have somebody. They just mean that much.
Intermediary.
That's okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, and do you have any bands or artists that you go to when times get difficult? And like when you meet artists, do you sometimes get like a little tongue-tied and stuff like that, especially if it's like a larger life figure like Zakk Wylde or somebody like that?
You first, bud.
I will be honest, meeting Zakk Wylde in like a personal situation was kind of like bigger than life for sure. And yeah, you don't know what to say or how to act. You want to be cool, but you want to also be like, I mean, I grew up listening to you and now here you are and I'm on tour with you. That's one of the crazy things about our situation. Even Sevendust, while we were on tour, Sevendust, my brother literally had a signed Sevendust poster on his bedroom wall as we're on tour with them. Like that's how crazy it was. I remember seeing all the videos back in the day, even Candlebox, I'm real close with them. Yeah. But I will say that the one time I was tongue-tied was when I met Dimebag Darrell.
Oh, man. How was that?
I ran into him in a casino in Vegas, the Luxor. I was playing blackjack. He was playing blackjack opposite me. I ran over to him because as a fanboy, like,
you're like, this is.
I couldn't believe it. I was just like, I couldn't believe it. But his entourage stopped me, like literally hands on my chest type stuff, like, where do you think you're going? You know? And Dime was like, whoa, and parted the sea of hair and tattoos. It was like, come on over, boy, come on over. And I'm like, oh, hello, sir, type of thing. Like, I don't know what to say. He's like, did you catch the show? Like, yeah. Are you having a good time? Yeah, man. Like, all right. It shakes hands. I'm just gonna get back to my game. Like, oh my God. I was the typical fanboy, but it was Dimebag, and he was like I kind of idolized him. I have a tattoo on my leg dedicated to him after he passed away.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. What about you, Jimmy? Who? Corey was pretty intimidating too. Actually.
Well,
Lowery.
Well, and that's how I still feel, and actually, I think during the last year, especially when like it has taken us like it sounds like it's a like burden, but it's not. Why am I quotating everything? Sorry. For me,
you're also doing it way up here.
I am. I'm like right in the thing. I just distance. All right. For me, it's every time. I play every day, and be it. So I do electric mandolin and keyboard for us. Okay, I'll write guitar parts, but I leave that to much better guitar players. But every time I plug in and think of this, I've gotten to know not Lenny Morgan, Corey Lowery from Seether, our friends in Black Label Society, our friends in Disciples of Verity, which includes God Forbid and Living Color, and also other. Please understand, we're not saying this to name drop, and which is another thing that gets on the old, the brain. It's not like I'm not saying this but these are people that we've had sushi with and have talked to them, and they have the same things that are going on. They're like, man, I'm going through a divorce. I'm not sleeping at night. How the hell do we deal with this? Mm-hmm. And just to talk to them on that kind of level, that I feel what he he feels with Dime, with the people that we work with every day. And at the same time, there's that weird dichotomy of the regular dudes, but also, holy crap, I remember watching you on MTV. My only copy, right? My only copy of Home, so Sevendust's second record, Morgan Rose has, because I had it. It came in this cool. I love telling this story. I the first night I met Morgan, Lenny invited me out. He was like, "Hey, can you record mandolin for this thing?" Yeah, absolutely. Great, you'll meet Morgan. I was like, "Okay, great." Morgan who? And he goes, "Oh, Morgan Rose." I was like, "Wait a minute, whoa. Yankees hat, dreads."
Yeah, he's a diehard Yankees fan.
Oh, dude, he's got the whole thing. And I felt the same starstruck because I was like, "Oh my God, there he is." And he said, and Lenny goes, "Morgan, this is Jimmy. And this is 2017. And Morgan, this is Jimmy." He stands up, not like, "Hi, I'm a big deal." Hugs me. And I'm like, "Dude, it's so great to meet you." I said, "Lenny, can I give him the thing?" He's like, yeah. I said, "Morgan," and I pull out it. So when Home came out on cassette, this was a cassette I bought when I was like 15, I think. Mm-hmm. It came like a cigarette pack. So the top of it opened and you pulled the cassette out of the
thing. Really cool, actually. It's actually really
cool. Rad. And then the booklet was embedded in the case. So I handed it to him. He's like, "Dude, I gotta Instagram this." He sends it to Tommy Lee. And he's like, "Oh, dude, oh man, that's all that made my day." And I said, No. I want you to I'd like, if it's okay, I'd like you to have it. He was like, "I can have this?" And he was like, and I forget the number. It was astronomical, but it was like, we only sold 15,000 copies of it. So I'm like, "Well, only 15. But just to make my point, it's in his house in Atlanta. And that meant a lot, you know, and we've been friends ever since. And now we just released.
Oh, dude. His house is full of memorabilia, but
it's amazing. A funny story.
What you mentioning Tommy Lee. So Tommy Lee and Morgan are really good friends actually in real life. Like they talk to each other regularly and everything, which is I find interesting. I mean, they have a history together. Yeah, it's very. But this one day, my sister texts me. I'm out. I do have a slight reputation for indulging sometimes, or falling asleep in the studio. For some reason, I fall asleep in whatever studio I'm in. If I'm not recording, I'm sleeping somewhere in the studio. Yeah, I don't know why. It's just one of those things. So my sister texts me, "Hey, Tommy Lee is making fun of you on Snapchat or something, or one of those things." You know, I'm like, "What do you mean? What do you mean Tommy Lee's making fun of me?" Because Morgan was playing drums to me snoring, like with his hands, and videotaping it and posting it on social media. And, you know, Tommy was one of the, and I'm like,
he did it to me too. It's
fun. Oh yeah. You have to be careful if you fall asleep around Morgan. Yes. And he won't write on your face, but he'll record something. And put it on social media.
Yeah. And he'll beatbox over you snoring.
Oh my God. It's so
he knows how to beatbox?
I've never seen the video because I refused to see it. But we got back late from we were out having dinner and hanging out, and he had an ottoman in his house. I was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna rest my eye." So I'm sitting there and I was gone, and just laying there. He goes boom, boom, bum, 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 and he's doing it in time, and I'm like, "Thanks, man."
Oh, that is hysterical.
Because there's a local place we go to out there, and they treat us like kings. So we'll go out there, Uber it back to his house, and by that time, God only knows what kind of shape we're in. It could be bad sometimes. So if you happen to be the person that passes out on the steps or on the chair or on the floor, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. Sorry, we went off on a tangent there.
No, that's all good. That's what this show is all about. So yeah, it's all about tangents and everything like that. So what I was gonna say is, what piece of music are you most proud of that you've created in your career, that you're just like, "Damn, I made this"? You just go, damn,
Not to be presumptuous and all that. I don't think I will ever. One of my biggest influences, James Hetfield, and he had this quote, and he said, "If you're ever satisfied, the game's over." And honestly, I'll be very proud of things that we've done, but I think our coolest stuff, we're still, all right. Hopefully people dig it, they get something out of it. But for a personal level, I will never say, "Yep, that's the one."
Well, I agree with you, but I will say I do think the new stuff we're doing, I'm pretty much I've listened to quite a few times myself with headphones on and different speakers, and I'm like,
it's pretty rad.
But did you
pretty rad.
Did you ever hear the song we did, The Pride, a couple years back? The Infinite Staircase did. This is one song that I'm like, I can't believe it was part of it. Zakk Wylde on guitar.
Yeah.
Kevin Martin from Candlebox on vocals. JD on bass.
Father JD, BLS, man.
Me on guitar. Morgan on drums. Check that out. It's The Infinite Staircase, The Pride. We did it for Hurricane Sandy. It was a charity song. And it was the craziest thing in the world. Since the tour, once again, the 09 tour, my brother kept his favors in his back pocket. So when Sandy hit and we came up with the idea to do this this song, he was like, "I'm going to contact Barbara Ann, because everybody knows she runs the show. She's like the Sharon Osbourne of the BLS world. You know what I'm saying?" So
she's a general. Absolutely.
Sends an email to her and says, "Hey, any chance we get Zakk to play leads on this song?" Sends the little demo and the idea, and she said, "Okay." She said he'll do it. And we're all like, holy. So we flew everybody into Jersey, actually. The only one that didn't fly in was Zakk. He did it remotely. Because Barbara was like, "Look, I'll give you Zakk, but he's not flying out to Jersey. All right. He's staying in my house. Okay." We're like, "Yes, ma'am. Whatever you say."
Yeah, right.
So when you get the chance, check it out. It's basically the Infinite Staircase lineup, but plus Candlebox and part of Black Label Society. Like literally.
We can send it to you.
And now this is going back, and I'm not plugging it. I'm saying because you asked, hey, if you're part of something that you're like, damn. When I think about that lineup, I'm like, damn.
I can't.
That's incredible.
This is he's my best friend, and to be just let me be part of that is a huge thing, and it's literally Lenny is, we collaborate with who we want.
Whoever's around,
whoever's around. Like, yeah.
I mean, that has actually happened. We've been in the studio, particularly in Moline, where like Morgan will be like, "We need a bass line," and somebody be walking by like, "You play bass, right?" Call him over, and the next thing you know, you got a dude in the chair.
Take this guitar.
Like, "Hey, nice to meet you." "Oh, nice to meet you too." Right. Here's Morgan Rose now showing him how to play bass.
Oh, that's incredible.
For sure.
I mean, and we do it like as on the spot and write it and record it on the spot. So we've actually had to go back to the songs and learn them to prepare for live shows, because we're like, wait, we had no pre-production. We wrote that on the spot and recorded it. So now we got to learn it again, because, it's hard to remember something that, you know what I mean? Or even if Morgan wrote a line, then it's harder to remember, because we all collaborate. Like the lyrics, especially Letting You Down, Morgan, Corey, and I could tell you every line who wrote what. Absolutely. I could tell you it's not one person. We all had like a hand in and all that. And
how do you remember all that stuff?
Oh, I don't.
Rehearsal.
Oh, if you ask my brother, I actually have a terrible memory when it comes to lyrics. I have to practice. I have to admit, because I do so many different projects too, and we play so many different things. So when we do like bar gigs with covers, I'll have lyrics on a music stand. But when we do like original stuff, that's frowned upon unless you have a monitor. If you're Ozzy and you have a monitor up front, but I'm not Ozzy, so I don't have a monitor. I don't want to have a music stand in front. So it just takes practice. Honestly, it just takes like repetition and really like listening to it. Jimmy, I think, listens to stuff in his sleep. Literally, he does the whole headphones while he's sleeping, right?
Yeah. And I you have to be, and this, I know this sounds funny, but you have to be a little obsessed. And think about it. So if there's times where even if it's just him and I do it, okay, well, I'll do it on keys or I'll do it on mandolin. Well, we don't have a guitarist tonight, okay? And we wanted to keep the writing from our perspective, like the cool twists and turns. Morgan has these wonderful hooks, and we will sit there, because we'll sit there, in fact, in that room where he's sitting, and we'll sit there and like face each other and be like, all right, let's figure this out.
Morgan's largely in part, I'm having an echo suddenly, sorry.
Oh, that's all right.
Sorry, guys. Morgan actually, sorry, Jim, if I cut you off. I just want to give Morgan a quick credit that a lot of these, like he said, hooks, the melodies, a lot of the time is Morgan's brain working. A lot of time what happens is I'll have sheets of lyrics, upon sheets, and he'll go through it and pick out some stuff and jot some stuff and then hop on the microphone himself and do some demoing himself and like play with it a little bit. And then I'll go back that night, revisit what he did, go back to the studio the next day, and then sing it myself my own way based on
correct.
So it's a complete collaboration. It's not us just saying Morgan Rose is our drummer. No, we're writing this together. And he's a good friend. He's a really good friend. I mean,
no doubt.
He's been there for me through some of my darkest times, just literally. So I just wanted to give him credit real quick about that.
Absolutely.
You know? Especially when you said about, the thing about anybody who ever tongue to, I don't want to put down, I've known him so long now that I forget. No, when I met Morgan too, that was pretty crazy. Because like, you're Morgan Rose, like one of the best drummers on the planet, in my opinion. I'm partial, of course, because I know him, but come on, it's hard. You might, if you don't like Sevendust, that's fine, but you can't say the dude isn't an insane drummer.
Oh, he's ridiculous.
And
he makes it look so easy.
Musician in general. So he put out a killer EP last year, Controlled Chaos, and
I don't know if I check that out, man. It's great.
Oh, dude, and he was like, "Hey, check this out." He has this song. He had a video for it, and it was just piano and his voice, and he composed it. And it was like we were in Lenny. We were in your kitchen. And we were upstairs, and he was literally doing his laundry at the house, and I'll send you some video I took of him. But
that's hysterical.
It was great, and he was like, and he goes, guys, I gotta play you something, and he plays it, and it's like almost Beatles-esque, like these gorgeous harmonies, and he was like, I was like, who's doing keys? And he's like, oh, dude, I did that, and I was like, I believe it, and it just the way he that was a killer record. Like him and Clint put out sick solo records.
Oh, Clint's last solo record is one of the best records I heard in
Kings?
The past couple of years.
Clint's,
my God.
Goosebumps,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Clint's an interesting musician. Clint is his style is crazy. He actually unreal. We had him on one of the Infinite Staircase songs too, and to this day, I still can't figure out the solo he played because it's just such a weird. He plays these off weird things that shouldn't make sense but do.
They fit.
Yeah. And so again, Clint, Corey's on this side of things. I worked way more with Corey. Clint I only got to work with a little bit. But
dude,
and we've gotten to hang out with him. He's cool as anything.
Corey,
we love all
man.
the guys. Sevendust is just, they're all cool. LJ, I got to work with LJ in the studio. He's funny as hell. The first thing, I hope it's okay. First thing he said, hey buddy, what's up? You got any weed? I did, by the way.
Yeah, when I saw Sevendust, I've seen them 13 times, by the way, live, and I'm a big Sevendust fan too. And I think it was the 4th or 5th show. It was on the Animosity tour. I saw 4 shows on that record alone, because Animosity is one of the best records ever written, in my opinion.
No doubt, man.
And I could blast the song Redefine and Shine all day. And
yeah.
And LJ it was at the Quest Club where the club shut down because there was a shooting at a rap concert there in Minneapolis.
Oh God.
And Sevendust just lights up the biggest Bob Marley type doobie I've ever seen on stage and just starts smoking it while he's singing it. I mean, the thing was like, I swear, as thick as like a sausage link. I'm not being sarcastic.
Right.
I believe it. No,
yeah, I know.
Oh, that's a great story. I love that kind of stuff. There was one night, I think we were in Pittsburgh, and we had a really cool dressing room area where all the rooms were connected, and there was like fruit and baskets in each room. It was really nice and everything. And one of my friends brought me a quarter ounce of good weed, right? But I have nothing to smoke with, so I go into Sevendust's room, and I'm like, "Hey guys, anybody?" And Morgan like shakes his head, John, nah, I'm good, man. And LJ's like, yeah, let's do this, man. I'm like, I don't have anything. So we both look at the basket and pick out the apple, and we proceeded to make a bong or a pipe out of the apple. So now I'm smoking weed out of an apple with LJ backstage before we're about to go on stage. And it's those kind of stories that you just can't make up, and
that's awesome.
I still didn't know Morgan at that point yet. He was just sitting back in the chair on his phone, and when I said, "No, I'm good," because he's not a big smoker, and these days he's not even a big drinker or anything like that. Not that I'm promoting it. I'm just saying, right. Everybody's got histories and reputations and stuff. Yeah, it's the fun stories like that, though. I mean, so many stories like that on the road. I mean, JD one time on stage hands me a joint while he's playing. I'm on the side of the stage, and he hands it to me, and I was like, "Oh, that's nice. I'm about to put it away." And he was like, "No, light that shit so I could smoke it on the side while I'm playing." So he literally I'm holding a lit joint for him, and he's walking over to me while he's playing with Black Label and hitting it and going back over. And I was like, well, I'm still smoking at least. It was still kind of funny, you know what I mean? And then that very night, actually, Leslie West comes out on stage and plays with Black Label Society. And that was a wild thing to witness, too. I don't think any of the kids, though, knew who he was. Right? Nobody knew who Leslie West was, as far as the younger crowd.
You almost want to go, Mississippi Queen? That's the guy.
Yep. But they didn't play anything like that. They just jammed, him and Zakk.
So right. Yeah.
He would do his jam, and then Zakk would, and then he'd do his slow hand. I mean, crazy stuff, though. Crazy stuff.
Yeah, and so what is obviously, Leonard, you told me the craziest story of all time, pretty much. Jim, what's your craziest memory that you have while on stage?
I'm trying to think. I'm not. What's that?
Don't hurt yourself.
No. Yeah. I'm not to his Ozzy. I'm Niles Crane. You know what I mean?
I didn't get that reference.
Frasier.
Oh, see, I don't watch Frasier. You do.
Oh, dude.
Oh, Frasier is a great show,
right?
You two should just hang out then, okay?
Definitely.
Yes, Maddie. We need to anyway, man. Like we I was gonna say we'll come out there. You come out to us. We love Chinese. We love sushi and hanging. So
hey,
you had a fun time on stage recently. We did a charity thing.
Yeah.
In PA. And right before we're getting on stage with JD and Bob from Bitchwax, our amps aren't working and stuff, and space is limited because as much was right. So that was, and then the second it was time to go, you started the Mr. Crowley riff.
Well, yeah. So we did all covers, and our good friend Marianne, she her bar is called Jabberjaws in Allentown. So I want to throw that out there.
You get paid for that plug?
No, I'm just throwing it out there.
She's awesome. So
her fiance Ed played rhythm guitar for us, and he's amazing.
Incredible.
Yeah. And so you have Bob come out, and he of course plays with Monster Man. You have Father JD, BLS Mother Chapter, and we were like, well, let's play a few covers, and so the night before we went to JD's, and we were like, let's run over there. I felt really good. I'm like, I got it. It got the whole Mr. Crowley. I think I got it. I even played it at Lenny's, and he was like, dude, it sounds great. JD's gonna love it. I still tend to get very nervous before shows. I don't care. I don't care if I'm in the basement with Lenny. I'm still like, does it sound okay? So we're plugged in, and Lenny goes, yeah, do the Crowley. I'm like, cool. All right, here we go. And like I start going. JD's sitting there, and he goes, wait, what was that? I'm like, oh shit. And I was off by one note, and my instant panic. I got that cold, the flop sweat you get when and I'm like, oh my God, I'm screwing this up. And so I figured out, with JD and all that, we rehearsed it. Well, the next night, all I can think about is that one note. And then all I could think about, so we played a Doors cover, we played Mr. Crowley, and we played Trooper. So we're down in the green room, and JD pulls me aside, and I'm thinking the whole time, I'm like, okay, don't let it. He looks at me, he's like, hey man, how long have we known each other? I was like, well, and he was like, why do you get so nervous? And I was like, well, I want to get it right.
I was like, you kind of play with Zakk Wylde.
Yeah, I was like, are you kidding me? And he was like, but it meant the world. And this is where meeting, like Lenny said, with meeting Dimebag, for me to full circle this, with playing with the guys we play with, that me and Lenny still do. Their t-shirts, their posters, their everything. Puts an arm around me, and he was like, dude, just play. I don't know what he was like. It was the best pep talk. He was like,
at the same time he's giving him a pep talk, our other guitar player was being told, hey, we're gonna do this, right? And I'm standing there and bear witness this. He's like, and at the end of the song we're gonna do some this, and our guy was like, okay, cool. And JD literally goes, you're gonna fuck it up, aren't you?
He did. He just looked right at him.
And I've been yelled at on stage by him too, because there was one time we were playing Simple Man, our version of Simple Man.
Right.
And we get to the chorus, and I don't know why I played an A instead of a C. And JD walks up to me on stage and goes, C!
Like,
oh, it's and at first I was like, huh? Because I'm singing to him like, be a simple. And
he's hitting it.
Like, oh shit.
He's hitting it. Like vocally. He's like, see.
But it's funny stuff like that. That's what these guys, as big as they are, everybody's human, and everybody's human, man. So it's all good, man. What about you? What was your favorite show ever?
I was gonna say, man.
You said Kill Switch is like your favorite, but what was your favorite show ever?
My favorite show of all time was back in 2008. Rage Against the Machine with NF Leg. They played two shows, and one of them was at the Target Center up in Minneapolis. And after that, there was Riot Police out there, kind of very similar to what we've seen in 2020.
Oh, yeah.
And people actually occupied a street that was kitty corner from the Target Center, and 137 people got arrested that night.
Wow.
Yeah. And Rage Against the Machine was also, at the time, being investigated for inciting a riot during that time.
Ew.
And NF Flag played, and it was just an intense night of music. And Tom Morello is... I was just gawking at how Tom Morello played the guitar. Just like, I don't know how he does the stuff he does. Makes it sound like a turntable. And
he's interesting. It's not my cup of tea, but I appreciate that stuff, because it is stuff I wouldn't be able to duplicate it. Like, I've been playing the guitar since I'm 11 years old. I wouldn't be able to duplicate what he does. By any means.
Unique is the word.
Very unique.
Yeah.
Innovative too. Innovative. To stand out these days as a guitar player, though. I mean, there's a million guitar players throughout history at this point now. How many amazing guitar players, and you get compared to everybody, So when you're somebody that comes up with such a unique, innovative style where you're no longer compared to somebody, you're now the comparison.
You're now right.
That's kind of crazy. That is kind of crazy. Yeah.
So who's your favorite guitarist musician of all time?
Well, I'm a Randy Rhoads guy. as far as guitar players go, Randy Rhoads is, but I also fell in love with Dimebag and of course Zakk, but Randy Rhoads is definitely my like favorite guitar player. When I was 12, I sat in my room trying to learn all the Blizzard of Oz songs.
Oh, dude.
And then graduated to Diary of a Madman. And to this day, I still play, especially the song Diary of a Madman. I love playing that on the acoustic.
Oh,
it's so cool. Now, granted, he stole most of those things from actual classical pieces, but he turned it into heavy metal, so it's cool. But so yeah, as far as that goes, and then vocally, you know, I love Jim Morrison actually. Some people can take him or leave him. As far as vocalist, though, I do love Jim. I took a lot of inspiration from him, but more so, I think Ozzy has been one of my biggest vocal inspirations because he's got such a knack at putting a melody over a heavy guitar riff.
Right.
You know?
He sure does.
How
about for you? Yeah, how about for you, Jim?
There's actually two and they're tied. And I apply it to, so I don't play mandolin like a bluegrass player.
Not at all. Not even close. Well, not in a bad way. I mean,
no. You know, but also keyboard and piano wise too. My two biggest are James Hetfield, for one, and actually my grandfather, because I had a conversation with my uncle here recently, and he told a story like, so every weekend, I actually have my grandfather's guitars and mandolin. I have an electric guitar that's from like the 50s, and the way he played, I try to find, I want to find the notes that are in between my boys. You know, if Lenny's playing guitar, I don't want to overcrowd what's going on there. And my uncle told me a story when he's like, when Willard would jam with other people during the jam, he was like, he used to say, my uncle Joe told me, he was like, your grandfather used to go, I'm here. Where do you want me? Or where do you need me? And I took that to heart. And he was like, you never had that conversation, did you? I was like, no. And he was like, because you try to find notes that are like in between people. And I was like, exactly. So that was a major influence on me. Also the way Hetfield, not only did he play with unabashed aggression, and he still does. There were things in particular, if you're familiar with the Load album, the song Bleeding Me.
Oh my gosh, that's probably my favorite Metallica song.
Okay. I'm gonna hug you real quick.
Yeah, you guys need to hang out and just hang out and bromance all day because you guys like all the same stuff apparently.
Load is honestly my favorite Metallica album. I'm not lying.
I love Metallica, but I am not a fan. I'm not a fan. I just go on. Never mind.
No, you're good. No. I'm sorry. So you can hear that intro. Dun, da, dun, dun, da, dun, 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 da, dun. So when I started playing guitar, I learned power chords after. So single, even the way I play now on a guitar is single note, and you can do a lot with one note. So for me, the notes you don't play, sometimes the best notes that you play are the ones you don't play. So when I heard Bleeding Me, I was like, oh my God, this is a riff this was a string skipping exercise my grandfather taught me when I first bought my first guitar. And I thought about it, and I can still play that E to A, bum, 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 bum. And then I heard that and then heard what Hetfield was doing on that. And I was like, wow, that's it like, pfft, there was that melt. and I literally base things I do the way we play on both Willard Doss and James Hetfield. So those are mine.
That's cool. You know, I'll be honest, there's definitely an influence on me of Hetfield that's definitely in there.
Oh yeah, for
as
sure.
As far as my vocals go, like I'd say there's definitely some Hetfield influence that I just don't consciously. I love Metallica, don't get me wrong. I'm just not as big like a Metallica fanatic like Jimmy is and some other people, you know. But I do love. I mean, it's Metallica, of course, and I think Hetfield is one of those guys that it amazes me that he could play the way he plays and sing at the same time. You know, just like even Mustaine, whether you like him or not, playing that way and be able to sing at the same time is such a crazy talent. You know, I mean, I play Hangar 18,
dude.
And oh my goodness! Like, I mean, man. I try to find. I'm not even like. I try to find the easiest things to play if I'm singing at the same time. I try to find the easiest way to play that while I'm singing, so I could focus on the singing. Where these guys are like, no, I'm gonna play everything and sing at the same exact time. It's mind-boggling.
So I don't know how anybody does it. Like, who can sing and play guitar at the same time? You know, it's just
seriously.
Yeah,
that's insanity. But he said exactly what I think about. Where he's looking for the note that I can sing to this rhythm, and where he is where I want to fill that in. And that's where we try to meld, you know.
And that's why I just marvel at like how musicians do it. You know, it's just they're able to just expound that energy on stage and be able to sing their hearts out and just play their hearts out and just do it all at the same time. It's just like
correct.
It's just like, how in the hell do you guys do this? You know,
well, I
can't walk and chew gum at the same time, let alone I'm like tripping over my own feet while I have a piece of gum in my mouth, you know?
Most of it's based on a dare. So, you know,
have you guys seen any of those? I hate to bring up those awful Vince Neil videos. Because now we're talking about what you could do with chew gum and walk same time. These videos where and all the videos where they're making fun and capturing, you know, what he's actually saying.
Like it's in.
Oh my! I'm sort of coming up with. It's too funny to not, but it's like, oh my god! I'm sure he's getting paid a lot to go out and do that, but at the same time,
I wonder what his band members think.
Me too. I was thinking. It's funny you say. I was actually thinking the same thing. I'm like, because these guys are still playing very well. He's got a good band behind him. He's got a very good band, and he's coming out doing his like not really singing words, and he's got singers on the side too, backup singers. And I mean, geez, who am I to criticize? He's way more successful than I am, but wow, it's if you see these videos, they're too funny to not watch, but then also you're like, man, that guy used to be cool as hell, you know. That's one of the guys. The Motley Crue videos and the Poison videos is what got me, and Skid Row videos is what got me into like wanting to be like rock and roll guy, you know, like these videos were super cool. These guys looked super cool. I wanted to be these guys, you know.
And back then they had a mystique about them.
Oh yeah. Oh, back then you couldn't meet these guys or call these guys or Facebook these guys, you know. It wasn't like that at all. I mean, things have changed big time now in that sense for sure. Like
absolutely.
It's everybody's almost accessible now in to a degree. It's weird, it's crazy, but it's the world we live in right now. You know?
Absolutely. Yeah, and before I wrap this up, this has been absolutely a fun, awesome conversation. A, I got to get to work. I'm running late. And B,
sorry.
No, you're good. We
tend to do this a lot, you know. Sorry. If you don't tell us to shut up, we're not gonna. That's the problem.
No, you guys are good, and I've actually really enjoyed this conversation. It's been so much fun. You guys are more welcome to come back anytime you want to. Cool, you know, and so what's next for Lenny? Like, do you guys have a tour in the works or more music to be released?
Well, we have plenty of music. Yeah. As far as touring goes, it's up in the air because things are just opening up again.
Right.
And since our project is technically not like the full, we have band members, but the core of the project is Jimmy, Morgan, and myself. So the touring aspect of that, we just have to figure out as this rolls out. And since we only have the one single right now, we're happy with the feedback. We're happy with, I mean, we have almost 10,000 views on our YouTube and almost 20,000 listens on Spotify in just a month. for our single.
Congratulations.
Thank,
Good job.
thank all of you. No.
So we're happy about the
everybody
numbers
for
that are coming in. You know, it's kind of cool to see. No, it's very cool to see. But we have 2 more videos ready, locked and loaded, and like 6 more songs at least, plus more songs that are just not finished per se yet, you know, as far as releasing. But we have enough to release a song a month for the next 6 months easily. Wow. Or we were trying to do every 3 weeks. But right now we're just letting the first single kind of sit for a minute to see what people think and all that. But we do have the next song I think we're going to release is called Plastic. Wrote that about one of our friends' ex-girlfriend that showed up unexpectedly one night. I'll tell you about that some other time. After that, we're gonna revisit a song that we had done some years ago called No Amends about my late girl from back in the day. So we have plenty coming out. And if you like Letting You Down, even though I don't think any of our songs sound the same right now, they're all in the same like vibe. So I think if you like the vibe that Letting You Down has, you might dig the rest of the stuff that we have, because we did keep it, not purposely, but it just turned into what it turned into.
It's very organic the way.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and I was gonna say that's definitely what I appreciate about Letting You Down is how organic it is and everything like that. It just sounds so natural. So keep up the good work, guys.
That. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And we definitely should do this again. It's been such a blast.
Anytime, man. We would love to be on it.
Absolutely. So I just want to thank you guys so much for being on the Madness Creation podcast. And you can check out their single on YouTube and find them on Facebook, Twitter, and you guys have Instagram, I assume, right? And you guys have TikTok, by the way.
Do we? I don't know.
Oh, I thought we did. We're sort of new to that, you know. Not we know what it is. It's just one of those things like, what do we do with it? You know, so.
Madness to Creation is such a cool thing, and Maddie Douglas, super cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother.
Absolutely.
A great afternoon to spend with you, man. Thank you.
No doubt.
Enjoy the rest of the day, brother.
For sure. Thank you. And before